When Babe Ruth died in 1948, the team put his body on display in Yankee Stadium for 2 days. Reggie Jackson once trucked fans after the Yankees won the 1977 World Series right here. That same season, the neighborhoods around the stadium were on fire, literally. The stadium had statues in the field of play. 2 fans died here in 1929. The field was built for Babe Ruth, and the right field fence was shorter just to help him hit more home runs. Or was it? This place had poles in front of the seats, was torn down and rebuilt without the poles. A kid helped his team win a World Series here by committing fan interference and got away with it. And the outfield bleachers had some of the rudest, most disgusting, vile, and fun-loving fans in all of baseball. The old Yankee Stadium was a place where crazy things happened. It was so much weirder than you remember it. These stories and more are coming up right after this. Guess what? Manscaped is back, and the very best male grooming kit, the Performance Package 5.0, is the perfect holiday gift this season. Don't be lame and get candles or some other crap. Give the gift of looking great to one of your bros, yourself, or overtly suggest this from either your girl or your parents. The Performance Package 5.0 comes with it all. The Lawnmower 5.0, precise, smooth, and always reliable. The Weed Whacker 3.0 to trim those disgusting ear and nose hairs. Trust me, bro, you need this thing. And of course, Ball Aftercare, Crop Soother, and Crop Preserver to keep those things fresh down below. 2 free gifts, a pair of boxers, and the Shed travel bag to tote all of this amazing stuff around in. So after this video, give or receive the gift of peak male grooming and get 15% off by going to www.manscaped.com/5-points. Again, you can get the Performance Package 5.0 for 15% off by going to manscaped.com/5-points. The original Yankee Stadium was built in 1923. It took 500 workers only 284 days to build the 3-tiered structure, which was revolutionary at the time. Prior to Yankee Stadium being built, the team was playing in the Polo Grounds. Yes, that weirdo ballpark that had short fences down the line. Co-tenants for over 10 years, the New York Giants started to grow very wary of the Yankees and their success, and they kicked them out into the cold. The Yankees said fine, so they went and built a stadium directly across the river in the Bronx. For 50 years, this version of Yankee Stadium stood until it got old and creaky, and a guy named George Steinbrenner purchased the team. In 1974, the interior of the stadium was completely gutted. However, the exterior concrete remained untouched. After 2 years, the renovated Yankee Stadium was reopened, with the biggest difference being that the columns that held up the upper decks were now removed, giving unobstructed views to the field down below. Some consider this version of the stadium to be entirely new. However, to me, that's just malarkey. For this video, it's all one stadium. Eventually, even the new old version of Yankee Stadium aged out, and it was replaced with the new Yankee Stadium, a short walk away from the old Yankee Stadium. It was an end of an era, but let's look back to all the weird features of the park and then dive into all the weird things that happened here. When the stadium was built in 1923, the architects chose to put up the iconic frieze, as they called it, around the stadium. It adorned the upper decks and crowned the stands in the outfield. At the time, it was made of pure copper, which is wild to think of as a decorative building material in this day and age, given its scarcity now. So many meth heads just winced thinking about it. Cool fact, Yankee Stadium was the first in MLB, or anywhere rather, to have a warning track, a genius invention. The dimensions of this place were also wild. Yes, they called it the house that Ruth built, but it was also somewhat the house built for Ruth. The 1923 layout all the way to the renovation featured a short porch and right that was only 296 feet away from home plate. In today's MLB, it's required that each foul line be at least 325 feet away from home. So for decades, balls that would be outs today were home runs at Yankee Stadium. But was the short porch specifically for Ruth? Well, the stadium was dual use, so it appears that it was designed that way to fit a football field in it. Yeah, I just think they wanted more dingers. In 1932, a monument to late manager Miller Huggins was erected and placed in, let's look at the notes here, center field in front of a flagpole that was in play. These were pretty far away from home plate, over 460 feet, so they just kept adding monuments to the area in center field. One for Babe Ruth, one for Lou Gehrig, the Mick, Joltin' Joe. After the remodel, the fence was moved in more sufficiently to have the actual monuments be out of play, but the plaques were kept and added to an area behind center field called Monument Park. Still wild that they basically had a park inside the park in center field for almost 50 years. Outside the park, there was a giant bat. Well, not literally. Originally a smokestack installed in 1975 to help heat team offices, someone had the genius idea of shaping it like a bat being taped. Louisville Slugger put their name on it, and it survived the demolition and still stands today close to the new ballpark near a transit station. It's pretty cool. And finally, the bullpens at the renovated stadium actually shared a gate, causing opposing players to meet at the junction sometimes. Like in the 70s, when during a brawl between the Red Sox and Yankees, Catfish Hunter held the gate open for Sox pitcher Tom House and said, "I'll see you out there," which is hilarious. Side note, I never understood how the league still allows the bullpens to empty and just join a brawl that happens all the way at home plate. And additionally, why don't they just start fighting right there? Duh. But for all the weird features of the old Yankee Stadium, nothing really tops the weird incidents that happened there. 1929 wasn't just a bad year in the stock market, it was a pretty bad year at Yankee Stadium too. At a game early in the season, the Yankees were playing the Red Sox when rain struck around the 4th inning. Some fans in the cheap seats started to make their way towards the exit, and as thunder clapped and rain fell, a stampede occurred, killing 2 spectators and injuring about 60. After investigation, it was found that 2 exits were closed, forcing the fans into one exit and creating a deadly bottleneck. Of course, the park got to witness Babe Ruth, who said it was a nice place to play baseball, and eventually he died at the age of 53 in 1948. Shortly after this, his body was set up for multiple viewings, one of which was at Yankee Stadium, another at St. Patrick's Cathedral. The Yankee Stadium viewing lasted 2 days, which is wild. I can't imagine any ball player today dying and having their body just on display in their home stadium for 48 hours. Like, it ain't that serious, bro. Eventually, Ruth was buried in the Gate of Heaven Cemetery in Westchester County, and he's still dead to this day. 10 years before that, Babe's teammate Lou Gehrig gave his luckiest man speech at Yankee Stadium when he pulled himself out of the lineup after he played in 2,130 consecutive games. He was suffering from Lou Gehrig's disease. Yankee Stadium witnessed much of Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak, Mickey Mantle's drinking, and Roger Maris' 61st home run, which took place in an allegedly not sold-out Yankee Stadium on the last day of the 1961 season. For years, this record had an asterisk by it because Maris did it in 162 games and not 154, which is absurd. He played under the rules that they gave him. The 70s saw the Yankees get good again after Steinbrenner bought the team and the new old Yankee Stadium was built. Then the team started winning championships again. But no season was more bizarre than 1977, as fires were intentionally set in the Bronx by business owners for insurance money. Smoke would fill the stadium and the announcers would remark about the neighboring fires throughout the games. Those 77 Yankees were really good, winning the World Series with the crowd storming the field after clinching. Reggie Jackson, aka Mr. October, who hit 3 home runs in that game, would have none of it, making his way to the clubhouse, trucking anyone and everyone who got in his way. Yo, this clip is wild. The Yankees would win the World Series the following year, but the 80s became a dark time for the team and the stadium. It wouldn't be until the late 90s that the Yankees experienced a resurgence, like in 1996 when they signed a bunch of ex-Mets and won a chip, though they got help in the form of fan interference. During Game 1 of the ALCS, Derek Jeter hit a fly ball out to right field, and it looked like Tony Tarasco would catch it easily. Not so fast, as a kid reached over the fence and corralled the ball, preventing a catch, and it was called a home run. A pissed off Tarasco pled his case for interference, but umpire Rich Garcia disagreed and the call stood. Though from replay, it was clear the kid reached over the fence, like clear as day. Someone checked the family tree to see if Garcia is related to Angel Hernandez. The home run tied the game. The Yankees won the game and then went on to win that series and the World Series. Jeffrey Mayer, who was 12, became an instant celebrity. He was on talk shows, was invited back to the World Series, and he was treated like Yankee royalty, unlike these two jackasses. While the Yankees were about to three-peat in 1998, concrete was falling from the roof at the stadium. Luckily, this happened 2 hours before game time, and nobody was hurt in the incident. These structural issues caused by age canceled that day's game, and Yankee Stadium would be closed for 11 days for repairs. The Yankees would go on to win 3 consecutive World Series, and in 2001, a non-weird incident brought triumph and healing. Following the September 11th attacks, a nation was reeling after the shock and terror that had been witnessed. Then President George W. Bush was tasked with throwing out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium, where to the south, ground zero still smoldered from the World Trade Center collapse just weeks prior. Bush took the mound and didn't just throw a first pitch, he threw an absolute strike. Eat your heart out, Fauci. Throughout its history, we can't forget one group of people who made this place what it was. And they were a proud bunch of assholes. That's right, the bleacher creatures, the Yankee Stadium version. Nestled in center field, section off from the rest of the stadium, the mostly blue-collar section of the crowd certainly had their opinions. And a shit ton of fun. Food fights, actual fights, offensive chants, jeering of the opposition players, lots of alcohol, and mostly just a good time. The bleacher creatures carved themselves a little piece of home in the old stadium, and they ran the joint like it was their own. Eventually, old Yankee Stadium would begin to crumble, and it was slated for replacement. 2008 would be its last season, and the new multi-billion-dollar version was put up across the way. Fans criticized the new barn as being too corporate, too stuffy, and just kinda stale. At one point, the two stadiums sat side by side, one old, one new, until eventually the house that Ruth built was slowly torn down and replaced with a public park, the old diamond outlined in history forever. Maybe the past is never gone, but the soul of the old stadium still lives on.
The barrel of the bat comes back at Roger Clemens, and he fires the bat back toward Piazza, who is going down the first baseline.